Welcome, you are listening to WRKC, and this is episode 1 of Monarch at the Movies. This is Amir Kazemi, film critic at King's College, The Crown. So, we will be joined today by the entertainment manager, Chris Boucher, shortly, but until then, we're going to discuss a little bit about the Oscars before we get to the categories. So, one of the things that I've noticed throughout the years is with the Oscars when it comes to the two categories of sound editing and sound mixing, people don't know the difference. I personally did not know the difference for the longest time, and it's unfortunate that when it comes to the Academy, they sometimes don't know the difference either. So this is a little bit of a fun fact / educational bit, so you will know now more about the categories than some of the Academy members. So sound editing is the process of collecting the sound, as in like making the sound effects. It's known as Foley, and this process was made by a man named Jack Foley. So it's literally just making sound effects for everyday things, and these sound effects are always used in film. Sound mixing, on the other hand, is what you do with this sound. So the levels and everything. So say, for example, you have a movie like, I don't know, The Dark Knight Rises. You have the levels of audio and the levels of the music. By audio, I mean the dialogue and the music in a way that you can hear the dialogue, yet the music is just at the perfect level. So, like, throughout the years, the Academy has picked the same film for both these categories. And, like, in a lot of cases, sure, the same film is deserving for both, but it's not always the case. It seems like they just don't know what it means. And, like, for us, it's okay because we're just regular viewers, but for an Academy member who's voting for someone to get an Oscar, it's different. They have to know these categories. So they need to learn it, and now you guys know more than they do. So anyway, just a little bit of a highlight on the Oscars overall this year. I wouldn't say any of the nominated films surprised me in any way. All the films that were nominated and all the actors and actresses that were nominated, they're in places that it makes sense. Nothing was shocking. Nothing was controversial. Most of the choices make sense. Here are a couple categories that I'll just cover myself before I'm joined by Chris. But one of the categories would be makeup and hairstyling. So most people really don't care about said category, but a lot of the films in this category, I'm sure many of you have watched 1917, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, Judy, Joker, and Bombshell. So of these films, the front runners would probably be Bombshell and probably Maleficent. I personally would want to see Bombshell win, because Bombshell overall was not a great film at all. But Charlize Theron as Megyn Kelly was insane. If you put a side by side looking at Charlize Theron as Megyn Kelly and then Megyn Kelly, you could barely tell the difference. The work they did on her face was beyond perfect. So I would not at all be shocked if Bombshell wins for that category. Another category would have to be original screenplay. So we have Knives Out, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. So in this category, there are two films that I would personally want to win. Either one I would be okay with. Knives Out I would be okay with, and Parasite I would also be okay with. Films that I would really not be okay with would be something like 1917. It didn't really have much of a story, but it was an amazing experience. So we're now joined by Chris Boucher, and if you'd like to say hello.
Oh, hello. Name's, as Amir said, I'm Chris Boucher. I'm also a big movie fanatic as well. So,
Okay.
Turn it back over to Amir. And
Yeah. So,
keep it more.
yeah. So, you want to get started with the categories? Production design first.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with production design. Like, out of all of these, what do you think?
I think it's going to be either 1917 or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I would prefer 1917 because of the amount of work that was put into it. But again, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is probably going to win. What do you think?
I mean, if I had to go for my favorite, probably Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Yeah.
because like having it like in Hollywood and then like changing in design sets, stuff like that was pretty good. Although I do see the appeal in 1917 because that was pretty good, like especially a lot of it being outdoors and then doing like one continuous shot.
One of the things that I saw with 1917 that I read about was with the set designer Dennis Gassner. They dug trenches that were nearly a mile long, which is insane to me. And another thing they did was they built 3D models of 150 buildings in which was for a French village that they filmed in. They destroyed the 3D model and then built that destroyed city. With Once Upon a Time, they also had a ton with that. The production designer was Barbara Ling, and she, as you said, had to create L.A. I'm assuming it was Hollywood, whatever, from about 50 years ago, which is insane. I think I saw they had to recreate a Taco Bell from the late 60s, which is the funniest thing. I honestly, I think Hollywood's gonna win. I don't know if it deserves it, but I feel like 1917 had to, it's not as fun to build trenches. I could see it being fun to redo the late 60s. I feel like the task for 1917 was more difficult, more daunting. So in terms of deserving,
if we're going to go by like who deserves it, it's definitely 1917.
Okay. Yeah.
Now who I want to win, that's a different matter. Okay.
Yeah.
So next up we're going to go to original score. I got to say, well, I mean, as always, Star Wars always gets nominated. And I mean, John Williams, he's always good, but I don't know. There was a lot of good ones this year. 1970 had a pretty good score.
Yeah.
I really like the Joker. I really like the Joker, how it cadenced the music into the way the setting of the movie.
Yeah.
You kind of felt all that emotion.
Honestly, that's exactly how I feel. Like 1917, I thought was good, but it wasn't anywhere near what Joker had. Joker, the music added weight to the movie, right? Like it was the performance of Joaquin Phoenix, of course, which we can't ignore, and the score by, I can't pronounce her name, Hildur. I'm not even going to attempt the last name, but Hildur. wrote the score, composed the score, and it is insane. She's already won a Golden Globe for it, so I don't know if it works in a way that, oh, she's gotten a Golden Globe, so they're not gonna think of her in the same way. But I hope that she gets the Oscar for the score too. I don't know.
All right. So number 3, we're gonna move on to visual effects. So
This is a big category.
big category. We got the Avengers Endgame, The Irishman, The Lion King, 1917, and Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. So,
What do you want, or what do you think will win?
well, I mean, as I love both Star Wars and Marvel, I can't disagree that both visual effects were very stunning in those movies.
Yeah.
And I'll even put it out there, as much as I don't like the live action remakes, The Lion King was really good too, because it was like watching a nature documentary.
Yeah. I don't know, for this one, Lion King will probably win over anything else, but I'd really want The Irishman to win. They had revolutionary technology with The Lion King, and I completely respect that.
But I think like the de-aging of like those actors in that movie was just so well done.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Al Pacino, like the way they just like cut back like years on him. Like
Yeah,
they take him from like, I think he's like in his 70s now, to like maybe mow him down to like maybe his late 50s. It's just visually just amazing.
I read up on it a little bit, and it was ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, and I think they spent a year or two trying to perfect this, because Martin Scorsese didn't want to put trackers or those like dots that CGI artists use on the actors' faces, because they wanted to get the full like acting range from Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci. So what they did was they used this 3-camera rig that allowed the actors to have their faces, essentially. So they did have trackers, but the trackers were on the actors' collars to guarantee that they could essentially somewhat CGI the collar so it merges into the rest of the body, and they don't have like a floating head. That would be weird. So
I think we could both agree The Irishman clearly deserves that win.
But like Lion King would probably win.
And it's just I just don't want it to, though.
Yeah.
It's just it's more like who deserves it in the end.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Okay, so the next category we're going to move on to is animated feature film. So we have How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, I Lost My Body, Klaus, The Missing Link, and Toy Story 4. Not a big category this year.
So
I've only heard 3 of these, and I've only watched 2 of them.
I've only seen one. So I've only seen Toy Story 4. I know of Missing Link, Klaus, and How to Train Your Dragon, but I don't know. Like, which 2 have you seen?
I mean, I got my personal favorite, and that's the How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. Like, I just like all 3 of those movies.
Yeah.
They're just visually amazing. The story's amazing. Just love it. Although I can always see Toy Story 4 winning that too.
Yeah.
But in the end, was it like really necessary though? Like
Toy Story 4?
Yeah, I feel
really.
I feel like Toy Story 3 just could have ended it perfectly, but then they made another one. And I mean, it was good, but
it didn't bother me. But like, I'm like, okay,
it's just like,
did we need it?
That's how I feel like with
yeah.
most of these Disney sequels. Like,
yeah.
good stories, but are they like 100% necessary?
Yeah. So, Missing Link won the Golden Globe, so I don't know if it's gonna have the same luck come this time around. Maybe, honestly, How to Train Your Dragon. I don't know. I'm completely lost with this section. I'm not sure.
From what you said, I'm gonna take a guess. It's probably gonna be between Missing Link and Toy Story.
Okay.
Toy Story mainly because like people like a Disney movie, but I feel like Missing Link was also like a good it was like a good story too.
Yeah. And it's a different kind of animation that's not really done anymore.
I mean, last year basically too, Disney got nominated twice and they lost to Into the Spider-Verse. So
Yeah.
I mean, anything's possible at this point. So
Yeah. A lot of people have been talking about the fact that since you said 2 Disney movies were nominated, Frozen 2 wasn't nominated, which I personally am very happy about because I thought it was, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I thought it was very boring. I don't know.
I'm not a big Frozen fan,
Yeah.
but it is surprising because usually Disney, like, they cinch this category. In
Yeah.
fact, I think they were on like probably close to 6 or 7 year streak.
Yeah, yeah.
But I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, so next is cinematography: The Irishman, Joker, The Lighthouse, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So cinematography, like, how do you feel about this?
In terms of being memorable, I don't necessarily remember anything that special from like The Irishman and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Joker, there were some really, really good moments. The Lighthouse, overall, it was very good, and 1917 was very good. So I'd put it mainly against 1917 and The Lighthouse, and then the Joker at a close second to that.
I'd have to agree with that. I'd probably say 1917 would win.
Yeah.
Just like the way they did like the action in that movie,
Yeah.
like doing it in very few cuts. Like, and you could feel like the
Being there.
like the tension and
Yeah.
pressure. Like, I feel like that would work.
Yeah. The only reason 1917 might not happen is because Roger Deakins won, I want to say 2 years ago for Blade Runner 2049. So because of that, maybe they might not double up. I have no idea. It's tough to say. Again, like with The Lighthouse, that's another movie that I feel like the Academy wouldn't have seen or wouldn't like care to see to even, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like, I feel like this year it's only like 3 big movies that I think have like dominated like most of the categories, like Joker,
Yep.
1917,
Yeah.
and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are like the only 3 movies that people have, like, even like in a general audience would go see.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you got Christopher Nolan, a Quentin Tarantino movie, and then you got I guess, pseudo comic book movie, but one like of a character that it's very well known.
Yeah.
Most people are gonna see. So I guess we'll see on that category.
Yeah.
Although, gotta cross your fingers for 1917.
Yeah. So next we'll do actress in a supporting role.
So we got Kathy Bates in Richard Jewell, Laura Deem in Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson in Jojo Rabbit, Florence Pugh in Little Women, and Margaret Robbie in Bombshell.
So I haven't seen every movie in this category,
Neither have I.
but I said earlier that I wasn't surprised by any of the nominations. I lied because Scarlett Johansson was the worst part of Jojo Rabbit, in my opinion. She played the mother of the main character, and they were German, and her accent was horrendous. It was so bad. I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Well, this is also the same woman who, like, 2 years ago was supposed to be playing like a Japanese woman in like Japan. Like,
Ghost in the Shell. Yep.
they just like try to stick her in any kind of like ethnicity or nationality, and they'll try to get there.
Like, she's not a bad actress, so I was surprised that she did this,
not.
that she was so bad in this, and then they nominate her for this role. Like, we'll talk about her later on for another nomination that she got, but this is.
And I think that's the other thing. Like, you get nominated in like one category for acting, and you get nominated in another, like for a different movie. Like, should that happen?
Yeah.
Like, I feel. I mean, yeah, they're different movies, but like in the very off chance that she wins in both categories, would that be fair?
Yeah. Well, I don't think they're foolish enough
I don't think they would
let her
do
win in
that.
this category because I don't see it. There's a scene that she's sitting at a dinner table with her son, and this could be because of the dialogue written, but I just cringed to the bone. She was drinking wine, and the son's like, "What are you doing?" No. The son says, "Oh, aren't you gonna eat?" And she says, "Oh, I am eating. I'm chewing grapes as she's drinking wine." I'm like, that is either it was the dialogue written or it was the execution or both. I just was not a fan of her performance.
Might be a bit of both.
Yeah. Margot Robbie in Bombshell, she was fine. She really doesn't deserve the nomination. She had moments where she did really well, and for those moments, like if we had more of those like emotional moments from her, I would understand the nomination. I even at this point, I guess I kind of get it. Florence Pugh in Little Women.
I could see Florence Pugh, because she's a good actress. But
yeah.
then again, I'm going off of a movie I didn't see, so...
The first movie I saw her in was Midsummer. And she was really good in that. In this, it's kind of funny because I was watching Little Women and I didn't know that it's jumping around in time. So the same actresses are playing their younger selves and their older selves. So in one scene, she's playing a 12-year-old, and in another scene, she's playing like a 35-year-old. So like the first half hour of this film, I'm like, what's going on? Is there something wrong with her? Do I not know what's going on? But once I found that out, I'm like, she's doing an amazing job. So I wouldn't be surprised if she wins. I don't know. Marriage. So Laura Dern in Marriage Story. She, spoiler alert, plays a lawyer in the movie, and I really don't like her character. I don't know if she had enough for me to even determine whether or not she was great in the role or not. So like that's more of a neutral. Like she was fine, but she wasn't there enough for me to notice. And then Kathy Bates and I haven't seen Richard Jewell, so I couldn't weigh in on that.
But Kathy Bates is another actor or actress that I could see winning because she's always good at what she does. But okay, so now we're going to move on to actress in a leading role. Cynthia Everard in Harriet, Scarlett Johansson in Marriage Story, Saoirse Ronan in Little Women, and Charlize Theron in Bombshell, and Renee Zellweger in Judy. I don't know that last film.
Judy's about Judy Garland, the actress who did. She's best known for Wizard of Oz.
That makes sense.
So she, from what I've heard, she's the favorite. So she might win for Judy. I think like the most recent film that I remember that she's done was like a Bridget Jones sequel, which I don't think did well. So this is the comeback role for her, and everyone who's I've heard seen the movie has loved it. I haven't seen it personally.
I do think Cynthia Everard from Harriet, I thought she was really good in her movie.
I haven't seen Harriet, but I really, really do like her. Her first role in film, like she did theater. She's been doing theater for many, many years now, but her first role in film was the movie Bad Times at the El Royale, and that was directed by Drew Goddard. And she was acting up against Jeff Bridges, Chris Hemsworth, John Hamm, Dakota Johnson, all those big names, and she was in film a nobody, and she did as well, if not better, than the rest of them. So I'm very happy that she has a nomination, and I, again, have not seen Harriet, but I'm happy with the nomination nonetheless.
Oh, she was fantastic in that role. Really portrayed the emotion that you would come to expect from a like story about Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
Then we got Scarlett Johansson again with Marriage Story. Whew, I know their acting like between her and Adam Driver sparked a lot on social media over December.
Yeah. So this is a nomination that she deserves. She didn't deserve the Jojo Rabbit nomination, but for Marriage Story, she 100,000% deserves this nomination. It wasn't that it's Marriage Story is a film about divorce, and it's pretty saddening because it's divorce. But it's not that Scarlett Johansson's performance was she was crying all the time. It's just it was the sadness that was subdued that hit it home for me. It was like she's on the verge of breaking down completely, and being able to give that middle ground performance was just perfect. Saoirse Ronan for Little Women. So she was, I think, the second oldest sister in the film. She was fine. I like Saoirse Ronan. She's a good actress, but it almost seems like she does one movie a year and always does that movie, so she gets a nomination of some sort. Not trying to hate on her in any way, because she's an amazing actress. I don't think it was special enough to win. Again, like these other roles that I've mentioned, she has moments that are amazing, and it's again almost middle ground. I don't know if she's gonna win. I doubt it. Next actress would be Charlize Theron for Bombshell.
She's always a pretty good actress.
Yeah, Bombshell as a whole was a pretty bad movie, but she was the best part. If she wasn't in it, then I wouldn't watch. I wouldn't be able to get through the movie. I feel like Bombshell was trying to have some weight overall because it's telling such. I don't know how to call what to say about the story, but it's just such a heavy story to tell, and overall there wasn't enough of a punch to it, but she brought that punch, and she sounded very, very much like Megyn Kelly, and the fact that she was able to pull that off so well, along with the look that I mentioned earlier with the makeup and hairstyling, she has a high chance. She really has a chance. It wasn't a performance like Judy or Harriet probably was, but it was a good performance nonetheless, so she has a high chance up against Renee Zellweger and Cynthia Erivo. All right.
Well, I mean, some performances, it's like you said. I mean, if she's what made that movie for you, that could be what cinches a win for her.
Yeah, yeah.
If her performance is so good in such a terrible movie, that might be what she needs to get it.
Yeah.
All right. So next we're moving on to actor in a supporting role. Tom Hanks, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Anthony Hopkins, The Two Popes. Al Pacino in The Irishman. Joe Pesci in The Irishman. And then Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So this is a pretty stacked category. Pretty much everyone is well known. Tom Hanks, of course, getting his
25th nomination.
I swear you can't go 1 year without him getting at least something.
And it's not like he's bad. It's in everything he's amazing.
He's just amazing in everything. Yeah, and it's okay, here's Tom Hanks, and here's his movie of the year.
Anthony Hopkins and Two Popes. Is he Pope Benedict?
I think so.
Honestly, before this came out, I thought the Pope kind of looked like Anthony Hopkins, slightly.
He does look like someone who would be involved in the Catholic Church.
So I wasn't surprised that they cast him. I have not seen the movie, but from what I know, he did a pretty good job. Then we have
Al Pacino and Joe Pesci in The Irishman. Ooh,
so it's tough because I like both of them.
I gotta say though, Al Pacino, he really brought his A game in that movie.
He did. He really did. Honestly, since we're talking about the two actors who were nominated for The Irishman, Robert De Niro wasn't nominated anywhere here for anything.
That surprised me. And then he was in another one that was basically nominated all over the place.
Joker.
He was in Joker, and
Yeah.
he sadly didn't get nominated in
Yeah.
that one. Surprising, but
Yeah.
then it comes back to what we said earlier. Like,
Don't want to nominate.
you
the
don't
same-
want to get it nominated in too many different movies, but
Yeah.
not getting nominated at all, surprising.
Yeah. With between the two of them, I think I'd agree with you, Al Pacino, mostly because both Al Pacino and Joe Pesci had a decently big role, but I feel like Al Pacino's role was bigger, so I got to see more of him, and I come to appreciate his performance more than Joe Pesci's, I guess.
Then we got Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time.
So he won the Golden Globe and I believe the BAFTA for his performance. I don't know if he won the SAG award off the top of my head, but he's gotten praise for it. So
He's gotten praise, but is it good enough to go up against against the big names like Hanks and Hopkins?
Not at all.
Like,
it was Brad Pitt gave a fun performance in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Was it an Oscar-worthy performance? No, but I don't know. I don't think it's not really an Oscar-worthy performance. It was good. It was fun. I enjoyed his character. The end of the film, without any spoilers, was really fun with him. It's just I don't think he's at the same level with these other actors. Not saying he's not as an actor at the same level, but his performance, his role, his character was not at the same level as the previously mentioned names.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now we're going to move on to actor in a leading role. Antonio Banderas, Pain and Glory. Leonardo DiCaprio, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Adam Driver in A Marriage Story. Joaquin Phoenix in Joker. And Jonathan Pryce, The Two Popes. Antonio Banderas, that's a name I wouldn't immediately would come to mind. Not that he's a terrible actor.
Yeah.
It's just
You think of Zorro.
I think of Zorro,
Exactly.
and like he's just not the first person that would instantly pop to my mind. But hey, good for him.
Like I haven't seen Pain and Glory myself. It's a foreign film, Spanish, I believe, and again, like I mentioned with, I forget what the other foreign film was. I don't think they're gonna watch it. It wasn't a foreign film. Sorry, it was The Lighthouse. With The Lighthouse, I don't think anyone in the Academy would watch it. Same with Pain and Glory. I don't think people are gonna the Academy would watch it to even give him the win. I don't know. It's just I've heard he was very, very good. Another powerful performance, just like the other actors in this category. But I don't know if he's gonna get recognized more than this.
I mean, just even getting just nominated is just. I mean, that would be good enough.
Yeah.
But is it enough? Probably not. Probably same with Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, obviously, he's a tremendous actor, and finally getting his Oscar like a few years ago probably helps. Probably helped that. But it's like back to what we said earlier about Brad Pitt. Like, it seemed more like a fun movie for him.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure if it was like his best performance.
Performance, or I feel like with an actor in a leading role or actress in a leading role, I feel like it requires a different level of energy for the win. It's just like the energy that I'm not saying DiCaprio didn't put in the energy for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but when it's a movie like that is a fun movie, not a movie necessarily with a message or anything, it's a lot easier to run with, to be able to do, compared to the other actors in this category. I don't think he's there.
Yeah. And then that just sort of segues into Adam Driver in A Marriage Story, like how we're seeing the Marriage Story is about a marriage falling apart, and he delivers that role so beautifully and eloquently, like of someone who doesn't want to get to a divorce, but it happens to 50% of Americans, and the way he does it. Like, I know a lot of people made fun of him online, but like
with the memes, and stuff,
with the memes and stuff. But I feel like he did an absolutely fantastic job.
It's hard to believe that the guy who's been playing Kylo Ren all these years has become such a good actor like this. Like the Marriage Story, what was it? Black Klansman. All like these roles are so like not necessarily with Marriage Story, but like with his character in Black Klansman. I'm like, that's an interesting role, and you did a really good job with it. I like with special, and then with this, yes, the role is not that weird, but he's playing a father, he's playing a husband, and just the way he does it, it's just natural. I could see it. Next would be Jonathan Pryce in Two Popes. I haven't seen the Two Popes, but I've liked him as an actor.
I do not like Jonathan Pryce.
You don't like him?
No. I do like him. He's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
But I really don't have a lot on him in this movie to go off of. But I mean, if he got the nomination, that has to be something. Kind of like Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
And then we got Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker.
He deserves the win.
he's probably got to get the win. No, because he put a lot into that role. I mean,
I've said this before, and I'm sure I've said this in my article. Like scenes like when he's, and for people who haven't seen this movie, slight spoiler, but scenes like when he's in the subway and the character has a condition where he laughs and he can't control it, and while he's laughing, he's crying because he can't control it and he wants to keep it in. The fact that someone can even give a performance like that blows me away. I don't even understand how physically someone can make themselves do both emotions at the same time.
And he was like genuinely scary in that movie. Like,
yeah.
I've seen many iterations of Joker in the past.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people compared up this performance to Heath Ledger's, but like in a way, like Heath Ledger was really terrifying, but I think the simplicity of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker was just a different level because it just spoke to like people who have mental illness and how, I mean, if you give it enough of a push, people might do something like that.
Yeah. It questions the right things, and like it makes you think about the world we live in as a whole. But next category would be Best Director. Best Directing.
So we have The Irishman, Joker, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Very, very stacked category in terms of directing.
It really is.
So, on like the one hand, we got 1917, Christopher Nolan, as always.
Not Christopher. Sam Mendes.
Oh.
Yep.
My mistake. I guess I thought.
No worries.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Tarantino, as always. It was good. The directing was good. How many Oscar wins does he have?
He probably has like.
One,
I mean, he has
two.
like. He probably at least can count like at least 3 on one hand.
Yeah. I personally want Parasite, which is again a foreign film. Director is Bong Joon-ho, and he's done a couple films that some of you may have seen. He's done Okja, which was a Netflix exclusive a couple years back, and
I did see that movie. I didn't know it was by him. Oh,
what did you think of that? Did you?
I thought it was a very cute movie, and like, and obviously, sort of, I guess, set him on this path and creating Parasite. And, like, pretty
like
good.
it was. I'm assuming I haven't seen Okja, to be honest, but it had a message. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it had a message. Like there are some things precious in like nature you really just can't get rid of.
And then another film that he's done that you may have all heard of is Snowpiercer. Have you heard of it? You've seen it?
I love the Snowpiercer.
So,
That's a fantastic movie.
so all his movies, they all have like a core. They have a message.
They have
They're
like
trying-
a core, like environmental kind of message,
environmental
like in a
or
different.
like about class or whatever it may be. It's just they have like something that they're working towards to get across to the viewer, and Parasite did that beautifully, and I really think he deserves the Oscar for being able to construct such a film like that. And it talked about class, and it was in a way that it wasn't shoving things down your throat. It wasn't forced on you. It was done in the perfect way. The Irishman,
Yeah, Scorsese.
Yeah.
So I mean,
he did like vast majority of the directors in this category did an amazing job. It's just
like
who's
he's already got wins.
Yeah.
I mean, does he need another? But
exactly. Joker. So Todd Phillips. Before this, he had done
like
The
he
Hangover.
did the Hangover movie, which is like such a
Yeah.
discrete difference between
Yeah.
the two. Like on one hand, we have a comedy movie, and then we have like a very serious drama.
Yeah. So like
I think he did a great job.
yeah,
Will he get it? Will he get it?
he might. I don't know.
Maybe. But I don't know. Your argument for Parasites is pretty good, and although if I really had to say who was going to might get it, it might be Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go on to our last category, Best Picture. Ford versus Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite. All over the board this year in terms of settings and like people.
Yeah. I, as of this weekend, have seen every movie in this category. I still want Parasite. Parasite may have been the best movie of 2019. Movies that I really, really don't want to win. Jojo Rabbit, I really don't want to win. It was a good movie, but it was missing that little bit to become a great movie, and that bothered me so much. Could have also been the writing and then Scarlett Johansson's performance that did it in for me, but I don't think it was quite there. It was a concept that could have been there.
I thought it was good, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that I want to hark on it because it's a comedy. That just doesn't seem like the movie I would say, oh, this was the best picture of 2019.
Exactly, yeah.
Same with Ford versus Ferrari. Like, I don't know that many people that really went out and saw that movie. And like, I know my cousin who's just really into race cars. Like, he went out and saw it, but it's just like
It was a good movie, but like,
It's just
was
like-
it anything that amazingly special? No.
it's like this movie. Like, for Best Picture, it's like, what movie, like, really brought people to the theaters?
Yeah.
Like, what really had a good message to show that
Yeah.
people, like, took away from it? Because you got Joker and Marriage Story, like, they got really some hard themes that they
Yeah.
lean into.
I also don't want Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to win. It's, again, one of those fun movies that I don't, like, again, it's not bad to be fun, but, like,
It's just like, is that the one
Picture?
you want to represent 2019?
Yeah. 1917 probably won't win. For me, what I think... So I want Parasite, but I think it's going to be down between Marriage Story, Joker, and maybe Little Women or something.
I can't see Little Women winning. That was
Yeah.
that was a little great piece.
It's the only reason I would say it might not is because it's the 6th iteration of the book, which is a lot, I would say, but it could. It honestly could. With those 3 films, they're all pretty strong, well put together movies that all in some way have a message. So I think I think those could win if Parasite doesn't win. I would personally really, really want Parasite, but again, it's a foreign film. The Academy's not gonna.
And then there's the bias of like superhero movies and like with Joker, like it. Although it didn't really feel like a superhero movie, it felt really like a thriller.
Yeah.
But, and it's like another one. Like I love the Joker like a lot. Like I thought it was a great film, but it's like one thing that just really would drive it over the top to getting that win.
Yeah.
I feel like Marriage Story might actually get it, but I could be wrong. It got 11 nominations. Joker could pull it, can pull it out, and it can.
Could Joker be the superhero movie that Black Panther was the year before? Like, is it getting nominations because it's popular and not because it's like I think Joker's a better movie than Black Panther. Not that either of them are good or bad,
no,
like,
and this is coming from someone who loved Black Panther. Like, I think overall, Joker had a lot more depth to it.
Yeah.
I think Black Panther was equally had a lot of depth to it, but I think it got nominated more because it was like culturally, there was a cultural shift.
Yeah.
The way like people reacted to wanting to go see that movie.
It was significant for like
Black
year and
like Black Panther.
Onward.
Black Panther was like going into the movie. I think Joker was what people reacted coming out of the movie, and I think that might be a reason why it might win. But then again, it can also go the same way for Marriage Story. It's like what you get after it, what you get like after the movie, and I think Marriage Story also brought a lot to the table on that. Like, what kind of message?
All right. I hope you all enjoyed that discussion. Oscars are this Sunday on ABC. Let's hope that our predictions are right, and let's hope that you got something out of that. Next week, we'll discuss our most anticipated movies of 2020 and the best movie of 2019 in our opinions. This is Amir Kazemi, film critic of
this
The
is
Crown.
Chris Boucher, also film critic, signing off. We hope you enjoyed our show.